Listen to me very carefully. What has happened in the last 60 minutes is not just a shift in the Middle East. It is the impossible event that every war gamer in the Pentagon has spent 40 years praying would never happen. I have spent my life in military intelligence and I have seen how the machine hides its scars, but they cannot hide this. I have been analyzing theater-level conflicts for decades, and the signatures coming out of the Levant and the Persian Gulf right now are the signatures of a world-ending event for American hegemony. The truth is harsher than anything you'll hear on the news. The elites want you to believe we are in control. I am looking at raw data from my sources that says otherwise. The White House is in a state of total unmitigated panic. Donald Trump is in a meltdown because he has just realized the Pentagon gave him a shield made of glass, and Benjamin Netanyahu's government has effectively collapsed under the weight of a technical execution that was supposed to be impossible. Stay with me, because the most shocking part of this, the actual smoking gun that proves the United States military was neutralized in a matter of seconds, is coming in just a moment. I will reveal the specific secret protocol that the IRGC activated by the end of this video. You need to understand the reality on the ground. Right now, the sky over Tel Aviv and the Negev is not black. It is a bruised, flickering orange. The smell of cordite and the ozone of burnt-out high-tech circuitry is thick enough to taste. If you were standing on the deck of a U.S. destroyer in the Eastern Mediterranean right now, you would hear something more terrifying than an explosion. You would hear the sound of total silence, the sound of an Aegis combat system that has gone dark. In my time in military intelligence, I've seen how we underestimate our adversaries to keep the defense contracts flowing. We told you Iran was a third-rate power. We told you the Iron Dome, the David Sling, and the Arrow 3 were impenetrable. That was a lie. The data I am seeing from my sources shows that Iran just did the impossible. They achieved 100% Aegis system saturation. They didn't just fire missiles, they fired a mathematical algorithm that our computers couldn't solve. We are talking about Wave 60 of Operation True Promise. This wasn't a swarm, it was a symphony of destruction. They used the Fata-2 hypersonic missile, Mach 15 signatures. Do you understand what that means for a radar operator? By the time the blip appears on the screen, the warhead is already through the roof of the command center. Having analyzed these theater-level conflicts for decades, I can tell you that the reality on the ground is that Israel's integrated air defense system has been systematically dismantled. The Iron Dome is exhausted. The SM-3 interceptors, each costing you, the taxpayer, 11 million, were fired into empty air because they were chasing ghost signatures created by Iranian electronic warfare units. This is why the White House is in a panic. They realize that the unsinkable aircraft carrier that is Israel has been neutralized. The impossible has happened. The deterrence is gone. The psychological state of the decision makers in the Pentagon is one of catatonic shock. They are staring at maps where the blue assets are disappearing in real time, replaced by the red signatures of a regional power that has finally called our bluff. Stay with me, because we are climbing the stress response loop, and the next rung is a regional war that has already begun. As I speak, the IRGC has activated its gray zone assets from the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean. This is no longer about a single strike. This is a total theater reset. Every U.S. base in the Middle East, Al Udeid, Erbil, Al Tanf, is currently being painted by Mach 7 hypersonic signatures. The sensory drama is overwhelming. Flickering communication lines. The red phone is ringing and the other side is laughing. I feel a sense of patriotic anger as I watch our troops being hung out to dry. I remember the smell of the sand and the weight of the responsibility in the field. To see these young Americans left in the crosshairs because the elites in DC wanted to play a game of geopolitical chicken is a betrayal of the highest order. And now the loop tightens. From regional war, we move directly to a global economic collapse. This is where it hits your bank account. The IRGC has just closed the Strait of Hormuz, not with ships, but with sea denial technology that we didn't think they possessed. If the strait stays closed for the next 48 hours, the petrodollar is officially dead. You are going to go to the gas station tomorrow and see numbers that will make your heart stop. We are talking about $15 gas. I am not being hyperbolic. Without the flow of Gulf oil and the security of the U.S. Navy, the dollar is just paper. Your 401k, your savings, the variability of the U.S. government to fund its debt, it all relies on the projection of power that just evaporated in the orange skies over the Middle East. The elites are already moving their money into hard assets while you are being told by the news to stay calm. I will reveal the smoking gun, the specific intelligence failure that led to the fall of Israel's defense by the end of this video. But first, you have to understand the technical specificity of the Fatah 2. This isn't just a missile, it's a maneuverable re-entry vehicle that uses a plasma shroud to become invisible to X-band radar. Our $20 billion stealth fleet is blind to it. In my time in military intelligence, I was warned about this, but the elites didn't want to hear it. They wanted to buy more F-35s. Now, those F-35s are sitting on runways in the Negev that have been cratered by $50,000 drones. The attrition. Math is a nightmare. We are using $2 million interceptors to hit $20,000 drones, and we are running out of interceptors. Iran has a factory that can produce 10,000 drones a month. We can't produce 10,000 interceptors in a decade. The emotional shift in the White House is one of pure insider panic. Donald Trump is reportedly having a meltdown because the generals he trusted told him this could never happen. He was told that maximum pressure would work. Instead, it forced Iran to innovate at a speed we couldn't match. Israel has fallen, not in the sense of a physical occupation yet, but in the sense of strategic viability. If you can't protect your own airspace, you are no longer a state. You are a target. The flickering communication lines between Washington and Jerusalem are a testament to the blackout dome that the IRGC's electronic warfare suites have created. Our satellites are being spoofed. Our GPS is being shifted. Our pilots are flying into dead zones where their cockpits go dark and their radios fill with static. Stay with me because the unthinkable is the final rung of the ladder. If the U.S. retaliates with the proportional force the war hawks are screaming for, we are looking at a nuclear existential scenario. Iran has made it clear they have strategic depth that we cannot reach with conventional weapons. They have buried their command centers deep within the granite of the Zagros Mountains. They have dead hand protocols that will trigger the destruction of every oil field in the region if a single bomb hits Tehran. We are talking about the end of global civilization as you know it. This is the reality on the ground that the media is hiding. They are talking about diplomatic efforts while the IRGC is fueling missiles that are already pre-programmed with the coordinates of every U.S. carrier strike group. I feel a sense of insider pride in being able to bring you this truth, but it is tempered by a profound grief for the troops. I remember the smell of cordite. I remember the sound of a siren in the middle of the night. I know what it feels like to realize that the person in charge of your life has no idea what they are doing. That is the situation for every American soldier in the Middle East right now. They are being used as pawns in a game the leadership has already lost. The technical specificity of the IRGC's Aegis saturation means that we cannot even defend our own ships. The USS Abraham Lincoln is currently in a defensive crouch, trying to survive Wave 61. My data shows that 3 of our destroyers have already suffered mission kills, and their sensors are fried, their weapons are jammed, and they are floating iron coffins. The history of these weapon systems is a history of arrogance. The U.S. military spent trillions on exquisite technology that is too expensive to lose and too complex to fix in the field. Iran spent billions on distributed technology that is cheap, mass-produced, and lethal. The impossible event of the last hour is the moment these two philosophies met and the exquisite tech lost. The Mach 15 signatures are the final word. You can't argue with physics. You can't sanction a hypersonic missile that is already in terminal flight. The White House meltdown is the realization that the era of American God mode is over. Now let's talk about your bank account again. The global economic consequences of this impossible event are going to be felt by every American viewer within 72 hours. The SWIFT system is currently shuttering as the BRICS nations move to a gold-backed settlement for all oil transactions in the wake of the U.S. Navy's neutralization. If you have money in a bank, you need to Understand that the collateral for that money, the projection of U.S. force, just failed. We are looking at a liquidity crisis that will make 2008 look like a rainy Sunday. The elites are already liquidating their positions. They are hiding the truth so you stay in the market while they get out. That is why the media is scrubbing the narrative. They need exit liquidity. They need you to believe that everything is fine until the ATMs go dark. Stay with me because I'm about to reveal the smoking gun. The impossible event wasn't just a military strike, it was a technical handshake. My sources have confirmed that the IRGC utilized a backdoor in the global satellite communications network, a backdoor that we built, to blind the Israeli and American defense systems simultaneously. The smoking gun is a digital kill switch that the Pentagon didn't think anyone else could find. Iran didn't just fire missiles, they turned off our eyes. That is why the White House is in a panic. They don't just have a military problem, they have a systemic structural failure that cannot be fixed by firing a few missiles back. The sensory drama of this moment is harrowing. The flickering communication lines at the State Department, the frantic, hushed whispers in the corridors of the Pentagon, the smell of fear. These are men who have never faced a peer-level adversary. They have spent 20 years bullying peasants in the desert, and they suddenly realize they are in a room with a professional killer. The reality on the ground is that Israel has fallen as a regional hegemon. Their invincibility was their primary asset. Once that is gone, the axis of resistance will close in from all sides. We are watching the dismantling of a nation state in real time, and we can't do a thing to stop it without risking the unthinkable. The technical specificity of the Wave 60 saturation is something I want you to remember. They used decoy swarms, thousands of $500 drones made of plywood and plastic, to force our Aegis systems to expend their magazines. When the magazines were empty, that's when the Mach 15 Fata 2s were launched. It was a masterpiece of attrition logic. It was a tactical execution that defied everything the elites taught in the war colleges. This is why Trump is in a meltdown. He is a man who understands the deal, and he just realized he's on the wrong side of the most expensive trade in history. He was sold a military that can't protect a single airfield in the Negev. I feel a patriotic anger that is hard to contain. We have spent trillions of dollars. We have sent our best and brightest to the four corners of the earth. And it was all for a prestige military that fails the moment it faces a real challenge. I've analyzed these theater-level conflicts for decades, and I've never seen a more profound reality check. The orange skies over Israel are the sunset of the American empire. The cordite in the air is the smell of a dying order, and the smoking gun of the digital kill switch is the proof that the elites in DC are incompetent at a level that borders on the criminal. Stay with me because the end of this video is where we talk about what you need to do. But first, the logistics. To reinforce the region now, we would have to sail our carriers through the Strait of Gibraltar and the Suez Canal, both of which are now under the potential fire of the same Mach 7 signatures. We are boxed in. The 5th Air Fleet is grounded. The 5th Fleet is in a defensive crouch. And the reality on the ground is that Iran is now the manager of the world's energy supply. This is the impossible thing they did. They didn't just strike, they took the keys to the world. The psychological state of the elites is one of pure existential dread. They know that if the American public finds out the truth, if you realize that the shield is gone, there will be a reckoning. That is why they are scrubbing the internet. That is why they are calling anyone who speaks the truth a foreign agent. But I am an American. I am a former Marine. I am a man who has seen the data. And I am telling you, the world changed 60 minutes ago. Israel has fallen as a strategic entity. The White House is in panic. And the impossible is our new reality. I promised you the smoking gun, and here it is in its final brutal form. The impossible event was enabled by a secret intelligence sharing agreement between Iran, Russia, and China that was signed 90 days ago. They have created a unified battle space. While we were focused on the news, they were integrating their electronic warfare suites. The smoking gun is that the IRGC's drones were being guided by Russian satellite data and Chinese processing power. We aren't fighting Iran, we are fighting the combined weight of the Eurasian heart block, and we just lost the first round in 60 minutes. The Pentagon is hiding this because admitting it means admitting that World War III has already begun and we are losing. The sensory drama of the flickering lines and the orange skies will soon be your daily reality if we don't demand the truth. The elites want to keep you in the dark while they prepare for the unthinkable. But I am telling you to look at the reality on the ground. Look at the Mach 15 signatures, look at your bank account, look at the White House panic. It's all there if you have the eyes to see it. I feel a sense of insider pride that I can tell you this, but I also feel a deep grief for what is coming. The cordite smell won't go away. The orange skies will become the red dawn of a new era. We have moved past the point of negotiation. We are in the execution phase. Israel has fallen. The impossible has been done. And the only thing left is to survive the collapse of the lie. Stay alert. Share this. The truth is harsher than you know, but it's the only weapon you have left. The White House meltdown is just the beginning of the end of the world as they told you it was. The real world, the world of Mach 15 signatures and Aegis saturation is here, and it is impossible to ignore any longer.